All right, Eric Swaine. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm well. How are you?
Good. It's good to see you.
Absolutely. Same.
Yeah, thanks for helping us look at the leaders list. What is the
Mhm.
CEO thinking about this month?
Mhm.
One of the reasons I wanted to have you on is I love your background
Mhm.
in digital marketing, and you started in CRM, digital strategy, research, PR, analytics. So you've done that with agencies, big brands, small companies, hyper fan
Mhm.
spaces with Funimation, and um, I think you really epitomize what's necessary in digital marketing, which is bringing all those together, and that's what makes it hard, is being able to pull it all together. And today, you're the VP of Strategy and Insights at Social Factor,
Mhm.
and Social Factor, very cool company. When it talks about human connection at digital scale, that's really what we're talking about today. When we talk about personal reputation management, um, how does that CEO in a challenger brand put themselves out there, be able to be recognized for recruiting purposes, for sales purposes, for just moving an industry? And that's what you guys are so great at. We love partnering with you. So, um, you want to talk a little bit about the executive thought leadership solution that you guys offer?
Sure. Um, Executive thought leadership is about becoming more well known. Mark Schaefer wrote a great book about this, and he's one of my favorite voices to listen to. And he says literally, more calls will get returned, more doors will open, more opportunities will close if you're more well known. It turns every cold lead into a warm lead, it turns every recruit into a friend. The opportunity you have with your own brand, your own social media, is essentially to run your own media company. And that's valuable because instead of waiting for a moment where the audience is brought to you, maybe you go to a conference or give a keynote or invited to a webinar, you have that audience as a defensible moat of a asset with you 24/7. And so when your brand, when your company needs to make an impression on your industry, when you need to make a statement about a new product rolling out, a new initiative, a new close, or when you want to make a difference in your industry, all of those are readily available to you because you've invested in your own personal brand.
Yeah,
And at
there's
a
nothing
level
worse than
of,
that moment where you send that, you're all excited about this thing that just happened in your company and you tell everybody and you see one like,
yeah,
or there's just nothing there. So that's smart.
yeah. So to be able to raise that idea of personal brand to really the tip of the spear for your corporate brand is really important. And being able to put that investment into that asset is the same as investing in many, many other assets that your company has. And now, in a world of pandemic and everything is happening through these screens, I'd argue that's an asset that's undervalued and over delivering at the moment, one that you can really see some growth in quickly.
Yeah. So, we talk about the reason that the chief of staff is uniquely positioned for this is because we understand the rhythms of a CEO.
Mhm.
We understand what they're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. And so we can understand their communication style, we can understand the importance of various subjects. But then the key is, how do we work with pros
Mhm.
to take it to the next level? Talk a little bit about how we onboard customers, and how these executives start to work with the team.
Yeah, when we take a look at working with an executive, we start with the most important currency you have, which is your time. Your time is incredibly valuable, highly overtaxed already, and that's why you have a chief of staff in the first place, is to orient and guide you through the morass of challenges so that you can spend your time on the things that matter the most. Now, once we take that, we're looking at how can we maximize what we get out of you, the executive, to drive those goals for your business with that least amount of time. So we use a lot of offline onboarding tactics, meaning we have a survey. We give you a survey to talk about what are the resources you listen to, what are the things you watch, what are the things you care about, and you can fill that out on your own time. We also work very, very closely with the chief of staff. I mean, who else knows what you're going through better than them? So, in very often scenarios when we're working with an executive, even after the onboarding process, we don't meet with that executive very often, maybe monthly. Our day to day or even week to week is the chief of staff. We onboard executives to identify what they care about through these, and then we craft from that survey and those responses some key themes that they want to focus on. So, for example, one of our executives, we aligned on their key themes were going to be industry, family, and society, that they wanted to really focus on those three areas. And so then our role is to help you weave that narrative. We work with executives to set up that strategy and that narrative, set up all the channels and make sure they are all best in class, and then to execute that narrative week over week and month over month. Again, focusing your executive time on the gold nuggets you can create of content and moments, and then we atomize, disperse, and syndicate that throughout your media ecosystem.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And what if they don't have their media ecosystem established, right? That's part of the process, right? So it's understand their core brand personally, then establish how you're going, what kind of content goes with that.
Mm-hmm.
And do you focus first on curation, or do we focus first on original content? And I know the answer to that, but you can go.
Yeah. Almost every executive we work with is starting from close to zero, and that's not a problem. Consistency is the buzzword of social media. You have to stay consistently on channel. Think of your channel just like the email newsletter you subscribe to. Why the heck should I stay subscribed to that thing every single moment? So we do focus on curation and sharing content at first because A, it builds consistency, and B, it's really easy. In fact, we're building out new ways for executives to share with us what content they care about. Instead of having to do something as formal as send us an email, we're building text channels, we're building app channels where all they have to do is like a piece of content or text it to somewhere, and we can put that in the machine and start routing that around. Again, minimizing executive time spent, maximizing the return. So we start with curation, and then we will start rolling in original content, often based off of those themes from the executive themselves.
Really smart, really smart. And then tell me a little bit about how you measure success, because when it's for a company, we know we work with large Fortune 500 companies in the past, and you guys continue to. But when it's an individual, what do you look at? What are the metrics that matter?
Mm-hmm. It's so funny. When we talk to an executive, I like to ask the question, if you could wave a magic wand, what would you want to have happen? And those answers are actually easy to come by. Many people will say, I would like to be invited to speak at such and such a thing. I would like to be featured in some publication. I would like to be able to close more clients and sell more. Or I'd like to be able to raise the visibility of my company within this industry. Or I would like to be able to recruit the best talent to my company when I need them. All those things can be facilitated by social media. And so we start from those end goals. We will drill that down to the things that social media presents us, such as comments, likes, shares, views. But what we're looking for is that baseline of those vitals to generally go up, of course, with key moments of engagement that we can call out, maybe qualitatively, to say it looks like your social media is working. An example I can give you is that we have an executive at a Fortune 500 level that we work with. And one of the best moments of 2020 working with them was where the head of people and culture commented on his video about the diversity investments his company was making. we knew that this was good. We all in our group knew that was important because his goal was to show the cohesiveness of his personal brand with his company as a whole. And at an enterprise level, that can be hard. So tapping into key voices you care about, ones we establish in the onboarding process, that's going to be one of our success metrics. Are we able to call them into the conversation because that endorses the content you're creating?
Yeah, it's so important, and it's interesting because so many executives that we'll start to work on together, they go, "Well, I just want a lot of people to follow me," and then the question is why? What is
Yeah, yeah,
what's the output, right?
yeah, yeah. And you need that. Like you can't. A newspaper of circulation one isn't very successful, but
Right.
those things aren't the goal. Very often they are links in the chain that get us to some goals that we want to achieve.
Yeah. You mentioned that you're doing this with Fortune 500 executives, which it's different, right? Because there's endless resources. Even though we say there's endless, we know not true, but there's
Yeah.
always resources. In a challenger environment, an SMB, executives they're making big decisions, and it's their money, right? So,
Mhm.
or their
Mhm.
investor, the one investor,
Right.
or the board's money. And
Right.
so in that situation, what I love about what you guys do is you can bring all of the learnings
Mhm.
from Fortune 500 organizations down to the SMB. Is there anything specific that you look at and you go, you'd be surprised at how
Mm.
much we can bring from Fortune 500 down to the SMB level and the
Mhm.
executives that we work on together?
Yes, the strides that have been taken in content creation are remarkable. And for example, we have an executive we work with where he likes to deliver 3-minute kind of updates to camera like this. And we will be able to turn those around within 24 hours, edited, cleaned up, and subtitled. And we actually found a product that enables us to subtitle quicker because the product uses AI to determine what's being said in the video, turns that into text, automatically drops in the subtitles. So all we're doing is cleaning up typos. That tool costs us maybe $30 a month. These
Which you're spreading
tools,
across multiple
which we're spreading across
clients,
multiple clients, exactly.
right?
So the ability for you to create content that's well and good enough for social media to create an enormous impact, that cost is so tiny now. And the ability to distribute that is also so tiny now. So many Fortune 500s, they can't tell their story because they're wrapped up in the issues of politics and confusion and who needs to approve what and which MSA or NDA and who's announcing what product and what. At an SMB level, you're not shackled by that. You can say a lot of things faster, smarter, quicker than the big guys can.
Yeah, that's it. That's the benefit of being an SMB, right? Be nimble.
Yep, exactly. So you will have the ability to say things with relevance and timeliness that maybe a large brand can't, or that they need help like ours to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. Well, that's why I love that you're there for us. And Eric, it's always fantastic to get to catch up with you. Thanks so much for walking us through it and helping everybody understand how their personal reputation can make a difference.
You bet. It's my pleasure. Thanks so much.
Okay. Thanks.